20. Waterfall Basin Technique. The Waterfall Basin Technique is one of the least combative water release jutsu, but it holds practical value in reshaping terrain. Yamato uses chakra to generate a waterfall and a large water basin from dry ground. Though its appearance is subtle, it shows refined elemental control and battlefield manipulation. The generated terrain can serve multiple purposes. It creates a space to obscure visibility, provides water as a source for later jutsu, or becomes a training zone for chakra-based techniques. Yamato used this ability during Naruto's Rasengan training, demonstrating how water can assist in chakra shaping. However, due to its lack of offensive or defensive capability, the technique is rarely seen in combat situations. 19th. Water Fang Bullet. In contrast, the Water Fang Bullet introduces direct offense. Itachi Uchiha used this technique to unleash compressed water bullets that spiral and pierce through obstacles at high speed. The jutsu is most effective near water sources, allowing the user to fire from multiple directions. In theory, its wide angle of attack and piercing motion can catch opponents off guard. However, it lacks raw destructive power and has few appearances in the series. Itachi's version was executed with precision, but not meant for long-term engagement. As a mid-range attack, its utility is more tactical than decisive. 18th. Dustless Bewildering Cover. From projectile to pure stealth, Dustless Bewildering Cover shifts the use of water release toward infiltration. Mu, the second Tsuchikage, uses microscopic water vapor to bend light and suppress chakra signatures. This renders the user completely invisible, both visually and sensor-wise. The technique operates at a molecular level, showing mastery over water manipulation beyond conventional use. Mu became infamous for his ability to vanish in plain sight, using this technique during reconnaissance and assassination missions. The jutsu has no offensive application and cannot block attacks, but its strategic value is undeniable. A moment before we move to the next part. We're on the journey to 25,000 subscribers, and your support helps us bring more deep dive content like this to life. So if you want to keep exploring the hidden mechanics, jutsu hierarchies, and power dynamics of the Naruto universe, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and share your favorite water jutsu in the comments below. Now, 17th. Hiding in Mist Technique. Zabuza Momochi's signature jutsu, Hiding in Mist, expands the idea of stealth into battlefield control. The user creates a dense mist by dispersing chakra into the air, blanketing the entire area. Unlike Mu's technique, this jutsu does not make the user invisible, but instead blinds everyone else. The effectiveness lies in the user's ability to sense sound and movement within the mist, while enemies lose all visual advantage. Zabuza combined this with silent killing techniques, targeting opponents through the slightest sounds. High-level dojutsu like the Sharingan struggle to see through it, though Byakugan can bypass the obstruction. 16. Rain Tiger at Will Technique. Water release also has a surveillance application, demonstrated by the Rain Tiger at Will Technique. Nagato uses this jutsu to generate rain infused with his own chakra, covering large areas like a megakure. Each raindrop becomes a sensor, instantly alerting him to any foreign chakra that enters the zone. It does not pinpoint exact positions, but functions as a wide-range detection grid. Combined with paper scouts like Conan, the jutsu turns an entire region into a watchtower. It is not a combat tool and cannot harm opponents directly, but it forms part of a larger system of control. 15th. Water Prison Technique. The Water Prison Technique is a classic example of water release used for control rather than destruction. The user traps the target inside a dense sphere of water, which severely restricts movement and breathing. In a one-on-one scenario, it is highly effective, especially when used alongside a water clone to maintain the prison while the real user remains mobile. The jutsu is best suited for short-term capture or temporary elimination of threats. However, it has a major limitation. Maintaining contact with the sphere is required. If the user loses focus or is pushed back, the technique collapses. Zabuza demonstrated this technique during his ambush on Team 7, using it to immobilize Kakashi while coordinating attacks. 14th. Water Mirror Technique. The water mirror technique shifts the utility of water from entrapment to reflection. Used by Yagura, this jutsu allows the user to create a flat surface of water that mimics incoming attacks. Once the mirror captures the enemy's move, it rotates and launches a mirrored version of the technique back at them. The counterattack is immediate and accurate, requiring minimal chakra to execute. However, the reflection only lasts through a single collision before it dissolves. In battle, this technique lets the user dictate tempo by turning the opponent's strength against them. Yagura used it to balance both offense and defense in close combat. 13. Heavenly Weeping. Tobirama Senju's Heavenly Weeping is a precise, assassination-style jutsu. The user forms thin, needle-like senbon from internal water chakra and fires them directly from the mouth. The senbon are fast, compact, and aimed at vulnerable points. As it doesn't require hand seals, it can be performed instantly, making it ideal for ambush situations. Its true value lies in surprise attacks or moments where mobility is restricted. Tobirama used this when held back by Madara, turning a disadvantage into an opportunity. While the technique is silent and efficient, its damage potential is limited against heavily armored or highly durable enemies. 12th Soap Bubble Ninjutsu. Soap Bubble Ninjutsu is an unorthodox but flexible water-style technique. Developed by Harusame and refined by Utakata, it uses chakra-infused soap to form bubbles with various effects. These include explosive bubbles, trapping bubbles, smoke-based illusions, and even large transport bubbles. The technique is activated through a bubble pipe, giving the user creative control over the type and behavior of each bubble. Its adaptability in different scenarios makes it useful for attack, defense, and evasion. However, its damage output is relatively low compared to high-tier water-release jutsu. Utakata used it to evade pursuers and misdirect opponents, showing its strength in guerrilla tactics. 11th. Water Shark Bullet Technique. Kisame Hoshigaki's Water Shark Bullet introduces aquatic aggression into mid-range combat. The technique forms a large shark-shaped body of water that surges toward the target at high speed. Its impact is driven by both the water's mass and the acceleration of its movement. The jutsu is ideal for underwater or water-rich environments, where it gains speed and force. Although powerful on its own, it serves primarily as a precursor to more advanced shark-based techniques. Kisame used it to initiate attacks, controlling space and keeping his enemies under pressure. It demonstrates his mastery of elemental form manipulation and sets the foundation for even stronger shark-based variations. As part of Kisame's arsenal, this technique reveals how water release can be transformed into relentless motion. 10. Water Dragon Bullet Technique. The Water Dragon Bullet is one of the most iconic techniques in the water release arsenal. It allows the user to generate a massive dragon-shaped surge of water and launch it toward the enemy with explosive force. The impact of the dragon is determined by both chakra control and the water's momentum, making it a powerful long-range offensive tool. In experienced hands, it can be created even without an existing water source by converting chakra directly into water, although this method consumes far more energy. Mei Teruma is a standout user of this jutsu. During the Fourth Great Ninja War, she enhanced the water dragon with lightning release, forming the Lightning Water Dragon Bullet. This version adds an electrical charge that not only damages the target, but also induces paralysis, temporarily disabling any counteraction. The visual and destructive appeal of this jutsu makes it a battlefield centerpiece. Its wide area of effect and ability to combine with other elements underscore its tactical flexibility. However, its usage comes with conditions. Without pre-existing water, the chakra cost rises significantly, limiting its practicality in dry environments. Agile or sensory-aware opponents can also evade the dragon if they detect it early. 9. Water Severing Wave. The Water Severing Wave stands in contrast to the grandiosity of the dragon. Instead of scale, it focuses on precision and raw cutting power. Tobirama Senju compresses chakra within his body and converts it into a high-pressure water stream, then fires it directly from his mouth. The resulting jet is sharp enough to slice through the roots of the God Tree, one of the toughest natural structures in the ninja world. Unlike most water release techniques, the water severing wave does not rely on external water. This makes it viable in nearly any environment, giving the user significant tactical advantage. Its cutting capability allows it to function as both an attack and a method of terrain control. In the war, Tobirama used it to eliminate large-scale threats, showing that even compact techniques can deliver catastrophic results with the right execution. Its major drawback is the high level of chakra control required. Only a ninja with Kage-level discipline can maintain the necessary pressure and accuracy. Additionally, due to its narrow focus, it is less useful against wide groups or unpredictable targets. Still, the technique exemplifies the lethal potential of refined water release. It turns chakra into a surgical weapon, prioritizing precision over spectacle. 8. Hydrafication Technique. The Hydrafication Technique is a signature ability of the Hozuki clan. It allows the user to transform their entire body into a liquid state at the molecular level. Everything from hair to muscle fibers becomes water, enabling complete evasion of physical attacks. Swords, punches, or projectiles pass through without causing harm, as the body instantly disperses and reforms. The technique grants high-level mobility as well. The user can flow through tight spaces, blend into existing water, or launch pressurized water attacks from their fingertips. When reinforced, the water form can enhance muscle strength, creating powerful physical counters. Suigetsu Hozuki represents the most active user of this jutsu. He applies it in infiltration missions, sudden attacks, and escapes, often alongside Sasuke's group. Its defensive flexibility allows him to survive direct hits that would incapacitate others. However, this versatility comes at a cost. The technique is vulnerable to lightning release, since water readily conducts electricity. In addition, maintaining a liquid state requires continuous chakra expenditure. This limits its duration during extended battles, especially when combined with other water release techniques. Despite these weaknesses, the Hydrafication Technique remains one of the most distinctive water release jutsu. It transforms the body itself into a weapon, a defense, and a means of movement. The Hozuki clan's reputation as uncontainable assassins is built on this exact principle. 7. Water release. Tate Aboshi. Building on the Hydrafication Technique, Suigetsu takes elemental control further with Tate Aboshi. This technique combines his liquid body with external water to create a massive wave shaped like a monstrous fish. It functions both offensively and defensively. The water mass can knock back multiple targets or serve as a mobile barrier that shields allies. The wave's shape and movement respond directly to Suigetsu's chakra control, allowing him to adapt mid-battle to threats from different directions. The technique is especially useful in team scenarios where Suigetsu can act as both a shield and a frontline disruptor. During the battle against Killer Bee in tailed beast form, Suigetsu deployed Tate Aboshi to absorb impact from a high-level attack. Although the wave could not withstand a full-strength tailed beast ball, it showed the scale of defense possible through advanced water release. In that moment, Suigetsu reverted to a semi-liquid state, proving the limits of even large-scale water constructs. Tate Aboshi depends on either environmental water or significant chakra reserves. Without either, its effectiveness drops. However, when used in optimal conditions, it demonstrates how the Hydrafication Technique can scale from personal defense to battlefield-level application. C6. 5 Feeding Sharks. The 5 Feeding Sharks technique is an advanced water release jutsu used by Kisame Hoshigaki to apply both pressure and control. It generates 5 large water sharks that move together in a rotating vortex pattern. The formation serves a dual purpose. It traps the target within the spiral and delivers continuous physical damage through repeated strikes. Each shark targets different angles, overwhelming the enemy's ability to respond. In water-rich environments, the sharks can regenerate using surrounding water, making them difficult to eliminate entirely. This jutsu is particularly effective in submerged or semi-submerged battlefields, where movement is restricted and visibility is limited. Kisame often uses it to isolate opponents and restrict their space, forcing them into a constant defensive state. The persistent nature of the sharks drains enemy stamina over time, turning the battle into a war of attrition. However, its performance drops in dry areas, where there is limited water to support regeneration or movement. Additionally, powerful elemental techniques such as lightning or fire release can break the formation, especially when the enemy focuses on disrupting the vortex rather than the individual sharks. While less destructive than some of Kisame's later techniques, Five Feeding Sharks demonstrates his strategy of turning the battlefield into a trap, controlling not just space, but the flow of movement and energy. 5. Great Shark Bullet Technique. The Great Shark Bullet Technique builds directly on Kisame's earlier shark-based jutsu, but introduces a dangerous new mechanic, chakra absorption. Unlike previous versions, this jutsu creates a single, massive shark composed entirely of water and chakra. As it charges toward the target, it absorbs the chakra from any technique it collides with. The more chakra it takes in, the larger and stronger it becomes. This allows Kisame to turn high-level enemy attacks into fuel for his own counterstrike. In both one-on-one duels and group combat, this jutsu gives Kisame a powerful advantage. If his opponent relies heavily on ninjutsu, the Great Shark Bullet becomes increasingly difficult to stop. In essence, it punishes chakra output, forcing enemies to choose between conserving power or strengthening the attack against themselves. Kisame's own immense chakra pool allows him to sustain and control the jutsu long enough to pressure even Kage-level opponents. Its primary limitation is the chakra cost. Only someone with a tailed beast-level reserve can use it effectively without rapid exhaustion. Additionally, if the opponent refrains from using powerful techniques, the shark's growth is limited, reducing its overall effectiveness. Still, in environments where chakra exchanges are frequent, this technique becomes a dominant force. Kisame's control over absorption, scale, and impact marks this jutsu as one of the most dangerous water release techniques in his arsenal. 4th Steaming Danger Tyranny. Steaming Danger Tyranny is a highly complex water release technique used by Gengetsu Hozuki, the second Mizukage. The technique involves creating a clone composed of both water and oil, designed to function as a self-sustaining explosive system. This clone operates using thermodynamic principles. It absorbs heat through movement, causing the water inside its core to vaporize and expand. As pressure builds, the clone detonates, releasing a violent explosion. After the blast, the surrounding steam cools, condensing back into the original form, allowing the process to restart. The clone's mobility enhances its danger. It moves faster than Gaara's sand, making it difficult to intercept or trap. Each explosion weakens the enemy's defense, while the continuous cycle of reformation keeps pressure high. Onoki referred to this technique as the most terrifying water-based jutsu he had ever encountered, not only due to its destruction, but also because of the scientific precision behind it. The integration of water manipulation with thermal physics represents a rare fusion of elemental ninjutsu and advanced knowledge. The drawback lies in the strain it places on the user. Maintaining this loop weakens Gengetsu's real body, which remains vulnerable if exposed. It also requires a high level of chakra control and a deep understanding of how to regulate temperature through jutsu. Still, as long as the opponent fails to locate and neutralize the true Gengetsu, the technique remains nearly unstoppable. 3. 1,000 Feeding Sharks. 1,000 Feeding Sharks is one of the largest-scale water release techniques in the entire Naruto series. Kisame Hoshigaki uses his chakra to summon a massive tsunami, within which swim 1,000 individually formed water sharks. This combination of wave and mass summons creates a destructive wall that sweeps across the battlefield, overwhelming everything in its path. The sheer number of sharks makes direct counterattacks nearly impossible, as each shark can tear, drag, and crush anything it touches. This jutsu is not intended for duels or limited skirmishes. It is a battlefield-level weapon, suited for engagements against squads, platoons, or entire armies. Each shark operates as an independent attacker within the wave, forcing opponents to split their defenses or retreat. The technique demonstrates Kisame's unmatched chakra reserves and control over large-scale water formations. It transforms the field into an aquatic domain where he maintains absolute superiority. However, the chakra cost is enormous. Only Kasami's tailed beast-level reserves make it viable. Additionally, the jutsu loses much of its effectiveness in dry or enclosed spaces where the wave's movement is restricted. Despite this, its intended use is clear: total domination through overwhelming force. In such environments, only opponents with extreme physical power, such as Might Guy using the 8th gate, can survive or push back against this level of pressure. The jutsu marks Kisame as a shinobi who weaponized the ocean itself. 2. Water Prison Shark Dance Technique. Water Prison Shark Dance Technique is Kasami's most advanced one-on-one combat technique, designed to eliminate escape and ensure full underwater dominance. The user creates a massive spherical water prison that moves with Kisame at its center, trapping both him and his opponent inside. As the sphere moves across the battlefield, the enemy remains submerged, struggling with limited mobility and breath control. Meanwhile, Kisame operates at full capacity, using his natural affinity for water to maneuver and strike freely. The strength of this technique lies in its control. Once the opponent is caught within the moving prison, their options narrow rapidly. Unlike stationary water prisons, this version follows Kisame, keeping the opponent locked in constant proximity. No escape route exists unless the opponent breaks through the prison wall or evades Kisame entirely. Both difficult feats given the fluid nature of the jutsu. Its limitation is scale. Against multiple enemies, the prison's mobility becomes harder to maintain, especially if targets scatter in opposite directions. It also requires a high chakra output to sustain the sphere over time, limiting its use in prolonged engagements or dry terrains. Still, within its intended context, one-on-one aquatic combat, it is nearly flawless. 1. Exploding Water Colliding Wave. At the peak of water release stands the Exploding Water Colliding Wave. This technique showcases the full extent of Kasami's chakra reserves and elemental control. Upon activation, Kasami unleashes a colossal torrent of water from his mouth, generating a tsunami that floods the entire battlefield. The force of the wave destroys terrain, disrupts formations, and disorients opponents. Once the battlefield becomes a sea, Kisame rides the wave itself, launching further attacks while his enemies struggle to stay afloat. This jutsu transforms the environment. In dry terrain, it creates water where none existed. In forests or plains, it levels obstacles and washes away cover. With chakra comparable to a tailed beast, Kisame can turn deserts into oceans within seconds. This shift redefines the battlefield and places all conventional fighters at a disadvantage, especially those reliant on land-based tactics. The primary drawback is chakra consumption. Few shinobi possess the reserves necessary to execute or withstand this jutsu. Its impact also depends on the user's ability to follow up while maintaining pressure in a water-dominated environment. Enemies with extreme speed or aerial movement, such as Might Guy, can avoid direct confrontation. However, for most opponents, the technique is overwhelming. Exploding Water Colliding Wave is not just a water release technique, it is a declaration of control. It marks Kisame as the apex of water-style users, capable of reshaping geography and dictating the flow of combat on a massive scale. Exploding Water Colliding Wave ranks at the top, but does it really deserve to be called the strongest water-style jutsu in Naruto? Some might argue that Steaming Danger Tyranny or the Water Prison Shark Dance holds more tactical value. So, what do you think? Which water jutsu truly deserves the #1 spot? Let us know in the comments. We read every single one. Thanks for watching all the way to the end, and we'll see you in the next video. See ya!